Whichever offensive line can protect their quarterback, they'll probably win the ball game.
And we're set with the kickoff. The Chicago Bears winning the toss, and Anthony Hutchinson is set to receive as Rich Carlos kicks off. It is high and it is short. It will be taken to the 13-yard line by Hutchinson. And he returns to about the 23 or the 24-yard line. So Chicago will go to work with Jim McMahon, Walter Payton, and Matt Suhey, the two running backs. Galt, Marjoram, and Moorhead are the receivers, and the offensive line is Colbert, Jackson, Neal, Becker, and Van Horn. Walter Payton coming off of a leg injury last week. He carried only 3 times for a total of 4 yards. He says he's okay. We'll find out very soon. Jim McMahon, the quarterback out of Brigham Young, a #1 draft choice a year ago. A flag is down. Payton on the right side, and he is ridden out of bounds just across the 25-yard line. Defense led by Louis Wright, number 20 for the Denver Broncos, but there was a marker on the play. Fred Silva is the referee. Offsides against the defense. A look at the officials. Inslee, Kragseth, Beeks, Liskey, Perry, and Don Orr, the field judge. Have a problem with the microphone. Jay Saldy checks into the offense for the Bears. Here's the defense at front three of Chavis, Carter, and Bryson Manor. Linebackers Ryan Busick, Gradishar, and Jackson. And the secondary, Wright and Harden on the corners. They'll be going after Mike Harden. Smith and Foley at the safeties. The reason they'll go after Harden is he is primarily a safety and not a cornerback. First down and 5. Walter Payton. 35-yard line, first down. And Bob Greasy, we expect to see Chicago staying on the ground with ball control as much as possible when you have a man like Walter Payton.
There's some question as to whether or not Walter will be able to be healthy for the entire ball game. He has a bruised leg, but so far he's running very well, and certainly they'd like to get their running game going.
Defensive change. The rookie from Arizona State, Walt Boyer, is in at left end, replacing Barney Chavis. Payton, the remaining back. Suhey showing motion. McMahon going deep into coverage. And it is caught. Matt Suhey. Triple coverage by the Broncos, and Suhey came up with the ball inside the 10-yard line. A flag dropped back at the 25. But the Bears head downfield. It is against the Broncos. Of course, refused. Defensive holding, the preliminary call.
That's as high as I've seen Noah Jackson jump in a long time when he found out it was on the defense.
3 yards. First and 10 for the Bears at the Denver 12.
They marked the play dead at the 13-yard line of Denver. Microphone not working again. That play covering more than 50 yards.
We'll get a look at Jim McMahon from the defensive standpoint. This is a zone coverage. He just barely gets this ball in with a strong arm before Foley, the weak safety, gets there. Louis Wright going for the big play, misses it. Suhey keeps his balance, and we got a big play right off the bat going for the Bears.
52 yards to the 13-yard line. Here is Suhey into the end zone. Touchdown, Chicago. So very quickly, a 76-yard drive. Matt Suhey scoring, and the key play was McMahon to Suhey for 52 yards.
I think, Charlie, one of the things we have to point out is that Barney Chavis is not in there. Bill Boyer, Walt Boyer, is in there for him at left defensive end. Here we'll see it again, just straight blocking right up the middle. It's the best way to go.
The extra point attempt by Bob Thomas. Bob Thomas. And it is good.
The kick is good. Score.
It is Chicago 7 and Denver nothing with 13:49. That is the time remaining. First quarter. Game just underway. The Bears lead.
Fuel's new postal system, MCI Mail.
We are 1 minute and 11 seconds into the ball game. Chicago leads 7-0. Bob Thomas to kick off. Number 16, the two deep backs for the Broncos. Number 82 is Zach Thomas, no relation, and number 45, Steve Wilson. It is high and very short, and taken on the run at the 16 by Zach Thomas. And the Denver offense will go to work at about their own 29. Let's call it the 30-yard line. As Brian Cabral was there, it is Elway, Winder, and Peros, the quarterback, and the two running backs, with Upchurch, Watson, and Wright, the receivers. That offensive line, Studdard, Bishop, Bryan, Howard, and Lanier. Denver from their own 30-yard line. First time on offense, John Elway, the rookie quarterback. Winder cutting against the grain. Spins out to the 33-yard line. A gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7. Todd Bell, the strong safety, makes the tackle. Let's look at that Bear defense. Basically, they'll be in a 4-3 with Hartenstein, Osborne, Hampton, and Harris up front. The linebackers, Wilson, Singletary in the middle, and Raines on the right side. Schmidt and Frazier on the corners. Bell and Fisher, the defensive safety. Poole comes in. Peros comes out for the Broncos. That'll be the messenger service at running back. Second down and 7. Backs are split passing formation. Firing very quickly, but missing.
Charlie, we saw a close-up of John Elway there. The Bears move around more than any defensive team in the National Football League. They did that before this game. They're not doing that for John Elway's benefit. He's going to have a lot of things to look at this afternoon.
What's he looking at?
He's looking at a lot of defensive black jerseys moving around. Hampton gets in there. Raines makes the hit on the quarterback.
What does he have to key on?
He has to know what to check to, Charlie. When I was in that situation as a rookie, I'd see things they were doing and not know exactly what to check to. He's got to be ready to do that today.
Now he's the shotgun. And they fake a blitz. And he is sacked. Al Harris got him. That is the 21st time that a Denver quarterback has been sacked this year. The 13th time that John Elway has been sacked.
You will see the safety, number 24, Fisher, up there faking the blitz. He backs out. This messes with the minds of the offensive linemen. Harris beats Studdard around the left side. Elway is confused and looking downfield. He may have checked to a blitz audible. They dropped off in zone. He's going to have that problem all day.
Prestridge to kick and set for the return is Willie Galt, a member of the world record 4x100 team. And here is a great punt by Prestridge. Galt back at the 14-yard line. And good coverage by the Denver Broncos as the tackle is made at the 22 by Roger Jackson, who has been the king of special teams for Denver. Chicago leads 7-0. We're in the first quarter. 12:22 left to go.
There is a revolution on the American road, an automotive revolution led by
Luke Prestridge, number 11 for the Denver Broncos. He is an offensive weapon. That last kick, 57 yards. Now that's at lake level here at Lake Michigan. That's not at Mile High Stadium. A 7-yard return. No. Well, that's a great kick. So Chicago will now be moving from their own 22-yard line, first down.
First and 10 for the Bears. The ball around 22.
Number 9, Jim McMahon, the quarterback. The remaining back is Walter Payton in this offensive set. Stewie in motion and then reverses the motion, and Payton draws the call. And the Denver defense is there. May lose a yard to the 21. We'll call it second down and 11. Tom Jackson was there, number 57, the right linebacker on the outside. This is Mike Ditka.
A loss of 1.
In the mustache and the cast on the hand, if you can see on the right hand.
There it is.
You talked to him about the cast.
Mike said he got a little bit upset last week after the loss and ran it into one of these heavy equipment trunks. And his hand is going to lose every time when you go up against an equipment trunk.
Dennis Gentry replacing Payton in the backfield. Second and 11. And it's a give to the second back through, who is Dennis Gentry from Baylor in his second year. And he is back to the 22, so it'll be 3rd down and 10. Reuben Carter making the tackle.
A 1-yard pickup. 3rd and 10.
Chicago leading 7-0. Matt Suhey scoring from 13 yards out, a 76-yard opening drive in 3 plays. The key play, the 52-yard pass from McMahon to Suhey. 3rd down and 10. From the shotgun. Willie Gault in motion. Gault going deep. Cuts back. Good defensive play. Interception by Harden. Denver has the ball. Harden on the return to the 40, to the 34-yard line. Mike Harden covering the speedster Willie Gault. Emory Moorhead with the tackle. And Denver has a big break.
You see a second-year quarterback, Jim McMahon, throwing to a rookie wide receiver, Willie Gault. McMahon had man-to-man coverage here, actually in a blitz. Gault breaks his pattern, goes back inside. I think McMahon thought he was going to go outside. The problem Gault needs to do here, Charlie, is go up at the highest point and try to catch the ball at the highest point instead of waiting for the ball to come to him. Harden saw it, went up, and made the catch.
And Harden is playing right cornerback. He's primarily a safety, though. He doesn't have the quickness of a cornerback, but he does have the knowledge.
They like him right here because he has good vision on the ball. He's a safety. He can go up and make plays exactly like this. He is stronger as a safety than he is as a corner.
Denver's ball, the Chicago 33-yard line. Jim McMahon suffering his 5th interception of the year. And Denver has a first down at the 33-yard line of Chicago. Rick Perro. We'll give him a yard to the 32. It'll be 2nd and 9. Otis Wilson was there for the Chicago Bears.
Charlie, we talked about the Bear defense doing so many things different defensively. Here they're in a 3-man line. You see Bryan blocking on the nose man, 24 Paris trying to cut back. The Bears will give you a 3-man line, a 4-man line, without changing, without substituting. Al Harris will become a linebacker.
Elway to throw. This pass is complete to Nathan Poole out of the backfield. Mike Singletary, the middle linebacker, makes the tackle. And one of the problems that Elway has had is that he hasn't had a lot of time to throw. But even when he has had time, it takes him time to pick up the read of what the linebackers are doing in the secondary.
I think the main problem so far has been the amount of time that he has to throw. He has been sacked some, which certainly hasn't been the majority his fault. Some of them he takes a little bit too much time, but when he does see things, he reacts a little bit too slowly, and that's only going to come by playing, and he's getting that playing time right now.
Gain of 6 to the 27, 3rd down and 4.
Blitzing.
And he is dropped at the 40-yard line. Loss of 13. Todd Bell got him. That is the 2nd sack for the Chicago Bears.
Now in a situation like this, Charlie, he's got, if he sees it before snap, before he goes through his audibles, he's got to check off to it on an audible. If they show it too late and he can't check to an audible, then he's got to do what we call a side adjustment. The quarterback has to see it, and one of the wide receivers has to alter their route, and they adjust on the run and get rid of the ball quickly. You cannot block that safety blitz.
They mark it at the 37-yard line, so it's 4th down 14. And Luke Prestridge will be kicking. And as a right-footed kicker, he goes for the left corner, and that's the way you have to do it so that you don't slice it off to the right side. And they will mark it out at the 11-yard line. So Chicago will take over on their own 11-yard line. A score in, Cincinnati leading Baltimore 3-0 on a Jim Breach field goal. Here it is Chicago 7 and Denver 0. We'll be back in just a moment.
1st and 10 for the
John Riggins scoring for Washington, leading the Los Angeles Raiders by a score of 7-0. And many feel that that might well be a preview of the Super Bowl game. Here it is Chicago 7 and Denver 0. Bears now from their own 11-yard line. Little play action fake by McMahon, rolling left, passing out to Matt Suhey. who has become his favorite receiver in this ballgame.
He was a leading receiver on the ball club last year. Suey is not a great runner, but he's in there to catch the ball and block for Walter Payton. He certainly has done a good job of that the last few years.
Mike Harden making the tackle. Mark it at the 20-yard line, a gain of 9.
Denver's not the only team that's had trouble protecting their quarterback. We'll probably see McMahon more sprint outs to avoid a hard rush, and also some quick passing. By that, Charlie, I mean three steps by the quarterback and hitting a little slant to the wide receivers.
Suey was the remaining back in the set, going for the first down. It was 2nd and 1 at the 20. He goes to the 23, picks up 3 and the first down. Randy Gratishar, one of the 2 inside linebackers for the Broncos, along with Walt Boyer. Now Boyer has replaced Barney Chavis at left end. Boyer, number 65. Chavis scheduled to start, still bothered by a groin injury, and we'll try and have an update or a check on the sideline to see whether or not Chavis will be able to play today. Chicago leading 7-0 on an opening drive of 76 yards in 3 plays. The Bears have a first down at their own 23. Suey, the remaining back. And the pass is to Walter Payton. Payton was the remaining back. Suey was the motion man just across the 30-yard line. A pickup of 7. It'll be 2nd down and 3. Tom Jackson makes the tackle. We do have a report on Chavis. He has a bad shoulder. We do not know if he will play. Let's go back to the replay.
Zone coverage. McMahon chewing on his gum, drops the ball off to a short man. Payton, not a bad guy to have to drop the ball off to. He can make some big plays in a broken field situation such as that.
A gain of 7 yards on the play. So it's 2nd and just under 3 to go for the first down. Payton. And he is wrapped up along the line of scrimmage by the rookie from Arizona State, Walt Boyer, taken in the 10th round of the draft. Change will be coming out for the measurement. Let's watch it ground level.
Denver jumped down into a 4-man defensive line. You'll see Gratishar down in the line there, 53. No place to run for Walter Payton. Louis Wright jumping over the top.
And it is a first down at the 33-yard line.
10-yard gain. 1st and 10 for the Bears.
Now, Bob,
their own 33.
you know the sounds of football up close. And you know them personally.
Yeah, up close and personal.
So let's, we have an excellent audio setup here, so we'll kind of back off a bit and see if we can pick up some of the sounds of the action. Pass complete far side to Moorhead, the tight end. And he goes out of bounds around the 42-yard line. So he'll pick up 9 on the play, and it'll be 2nd down and 1. Dennis Smith at the coverage.
A gain of 9. 2nd and 1.
We'll take a look at the second-year quarterback, Jim McMahon, dropping back and looking into his zone and the sun, which makes a big difference looking downfield. Drops the ball out in the flat to his receiver. Starts jogging over there, Charlie. You see that little jog there. He's jogging over there in case that ball is picked off. It shows her the confidence.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah. When you throw a ball out into the flat, you always want to hustle over in case it's picked off.
Walter Payton, 2nd and 1. Has the first down. Starts and stops 3 different times and pulls 2 players with him. Kurt Becker and Keith Van Horn were the blockers leading the way, and Steve Foley finally made the tackle. First down for Chicago. Walter Payton. Unbelievable.
Love to watch Walter Payton run. Holding the ball in one hand, but he knows when he's going to get hit, he'll pull it back in there, trying to get the defensive man to commit himself so he can go one way or the other. Just a real fun guy to watch.
First down, 50-yard line, the offense of the Chicago Bears. Moving for the 3rd time in the game. First time they moved for a touchdown. 2nd time, interception by Harden. Spinning out, pump fake, and then dropping it off. Pass complete to Calvin Thomas. And he leans just across the Denver 45-yard line. Jim Ryan and Steve Busick make the tackle.
That time, Charlie, the Denver defense was all up on the line of scrimmage, 11 men at the line of scrimmage faking a safety blitz. The two of their cornerbacks, two of their defensive backs, Louis Wright has 1 sack and Dennis Smith has 2 sacks, so they've been very involved in rushing the quarterback. That time they pulled out of it. McMahon checked off and didn't have anything downfield, just dumped it off.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4. Draw, Calvin Thomas to the 41-yard line. He has 3, so it'll be 3rd down and 1 as Bryson Manor makes the tackle. A couple of scores are in. Minnesota leading Dallas by a score of 7-0. A Steve Dills touchdown pass to Sammy White covering some 43 yards. Green Bay now leading Tampa Bay 14-0. Epps a punt return for 89 yards and a touchdown, and then a Lynn Dickey pass to Clark for 75 yards. So 2 big plays for Green Bay. They lead Tampa Bay. Peyton, Suey, and Thomas are all in the offensive set. 3rd down and 1. Needing a yard, and the forward progress will be marked near the 40-yard line, which is close to the yard. But we may be looking at another measurement.
This will give you an indication how strong his legs are. Walter Payton jumping as high as the top of the pile and then pummeling down over the backside. The key to that play, Charlie, is offensive movement by the offensive line. You've got to get some kind of movement and stop the penetration from the defense, because if they get in there, they can stop him before he gets his feet off the ground.
And it is shy of the 1st down. So it'll be 4th down.
You see a ground level look. You know, the thing I don't understand is how somebody going over the top like this, they can find out the exact spot to spot this football. 4 guys are falling on him. The officials are on the side. They're blocked out. It just has to be a guess. They don't know where it's going to go. And sometimes you win, sometimes you don't.
And nobody ever argues. So they put the ball down, and here we go.
I think they all realize that fact.
3 running backs, 2 tight ends, short yardage, 4th down and inches. Peyton shows motion. 1st down, Chicago. Matt Sewell picks it up. 2 yards to the 38. Baltimore now leads Cincinnati on a score just in, 7-3. Jim Breach with a 19-yard field goal, and then Alvin Moore scoring for Baltimore.
Straight ahead blocking. Calvin Thomas blocking down number 33, just trying to get a little crack in there for the fullback to just lower his head and get in. He only needed a half a foot. Successful play for the Bears.
2 minutes, 33 seconds, time remaining. 1st quarter, Chicago leading 7-0. They have dominated this 1st period. McMahon to throw, has good protection. Goes to the tight end, Moorhead. He is out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Gain of 4, so it'll be 2nd down and 6. Dennis Smith had the coverage.
Take a look at the rush. McMahon wants to throw the ball downfield. Again, it's a zone coverage. Dumps it out to Moorhead. We'll get Moorhead isolated. Releases Ryan, number 50, dropping straight back. He's not covering him man-to-man. He goes back to cover his zone. That's not where you want to throw the ball as a quarterback, but it's better than being sacked or taking a loss.
Emory Moorhead was with the Denver Broncos in 1980 as a running back and as a wide receiver. Now he's a tight end with Chicago with a couple of the ball clubs. Walter Payton, there was not any room. He has 3 yards to the 31-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 3. Let's go to New York in NFL 83.
All right, thank you, Charlie. In Cincinnati, here come the Colts again. Another Arizona State rookie, Alvin Moore, takes it in 9 yards away. The Colts lead it 7-3. Back to Chicago now.
3rd and 3 at the 31.
Thank you. And Baltimore may be the surprise team of the year.
You're not surprising me. I predicted they would do very well. I don't think their offense is up to par with their defense, but a defense can carry an offense. Just ask the Dolphins about that.
All right. Jim McMahon has completed 6 of 7 for 89 yards. Walter Payton, 1st down, 25-yard line. Gain of 6. Update on some other scores. Seattle leading Cleveland 3-0 on a Johnson 25-yard field goal. San Francisco leading New England 7-6. And it is Philadelphia over Atlanta 7-0. Ron Jaworski. Now, in the AFC, there are 3 games currently underway. No score in Houston, Pittsburgh. Seattle leading Cleveland 3-0. Baltimore out in front of Cincinnati 7-3. Those are the matchups of AFC games going on at the same time that our game is going on. Here it is, Chicago 7, Denver nothing. 55 seconds left to go in the first quarter. McMahon, a little play action. Rolls, throws, pass complete to Suey. And Matt is near the 15-yard line. Matt Suey has been the star of the game for the Bears thus far. He has a 52-yard pass reception and a 13-yard run for a score. Stakowski with the tackle.
Nobody blocks Bryson Manor, number 66, right there in the white. You don't get a very good opportunity to see him. This is a play that Ditka brought over from the Cowboys. They'll run this play 3 or 4 times a game, and if he gets outside, he's liable to go ahead and run it. The wide receiver goes deep down the field. He has a choice to throw deep or to a short man. It's a good counter play. If the defensive end is reading a linebacker or reading a lineman, he can always go to that to break their keys.
There are 3 games between NFC teams going on right now. Minnesota leading Dallas 7-0. Green Bay out in front of Tampa Bay 14-0. And Philadelphia leading Atlanta by a score of 7-0. So 3 games in the AFC underway, 3 games in the NFC. Also, there are 2 interconference games that we'll be updating. It's a first down. Official spotted at the 16-yard line. McMahon fires in zone, touchdown, Willie Gault. For Gault, that is his 5th touchdown of the season. The rookie receiver, and the man that he beat was Louis Wright. Willie Gault at Helsinki thought about staying for the Olympics, but decided to join the Bears in the NFL.
Charlie, I'm very impressed with this pass down here. First of all, he's beating Louis Wright, who is a perennial all-pro cornerback. The second thing is he was on the 15 or 20-yard line. He didn't use his speed to get open. He had to use his smarts and his ability to get open down in that area of the field.
Bob Thomas with the extra point, and it is good. The score is Chicago 14 and Denver nothing, with 7 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Here's another look. The gold medalist at Helsinki in the world record 4x100. An 89-yard drive in 15 plays. 8:37 time elapsed. Willie Gault on the receiving end. His 5th touchdown of the year. Thomas kicking off. Rolls past Zach Thomas. He decides to run it out of the end zone. May have made a wrong decision, lost where he was, returns it to about the 14, where Kelvin Atkins makes the tackle for the Bears as time runs out in the first quarter. A first period dominated by the Chicago Bears. They lead 14-0. The Broncos have to get something going in the second period. We'll be back. The first sellout crowd of the year playing Bounce the Football, and the Bears have certainly been bouncing the Denver Broncos. The statistics in the first quarter weighed all on the right side.
Problem is Denver's offense, and John Elway have only had the ball 2 series, 6 plays, including 2 sacks.
Elway going deep, and it is incomplete. Throwing over the wrong shoulder of Steve Watson. Now, what's the problem there?
Well, I think it was just a poor throw on the part of Elway. Deep in your own end zone, it's not a bad call. Play action, throw the ball down past the cornerback. If it's incomplete, it's out of bounds, but it's an opportunity to make a big play. You're not probably going to get out of there running the football.
We mentioned that we have games going as far as interconference games are concerned. 2 are underway. Washington leading the Raiders 7-0 in the first quarter. San Francisco leading New England 7-6. First quarter score. 2nd and 10. Denver from their own 13. Chicago leading 14-0. Sweep right side. Winder around the corner and just battles his way to the 18-yard line. So that's a tough 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Terry Schmidt defensive left cornerback is the man who brought him down.
6-yard pickup. 3rd and 4 at the 19.
Here we see a ground level look at Sammy Winder coming around in. I'll tell you, the Bear defense, Charlie, is showing so many different fronts and doing so many things differently in the secondary. I don't think John Elway has any idea what they're doing, and sometimes I question whether or not the Chicago Bears know what they're doing.
We'll be back in just a moment. Dave Studdard of the Broncos, the injured player, he has come out of the ballgame. Keith Bucher has replaced him. 3rd down and 4 at the 19-yard line. The Chicago Bears have 7 defensive backs. On the draw, Sammy Winder is dropped by Al Harris. Good defensive play.
And again, Charlie, you saw on your screen the Chicago Bears and the defensive backs up there jumping around. That man right there, John Elway, has to look right at it. Inexperience will cause confusion, and that's what the Denver Broncos have in their offensive team right now. The Chicago Bears are showing them a lot of different things, and they are winning that battle right now. Later on, they could make a mistake, and Denver could capitalize, make a big play on it.
Elway has completed 1 of 3 passes for 6 yards. Winder 2 carries for 9. No offense for the Broncos. Prestridge will be kicking. Had a 57-yard kick earlier in the game. Flag is down. Willie Gault. Gault takes it at the 40. Looks for a block. Doesn't find the block, and he is decked at about the 44-yard line as Myers was down very quickly for Denver. But remember, there was a flag on the play.
He never got hit like that running track.
Only if he dropped the baton and somebody came up his back. It is illegal motion against the Denver Broncos. Now the Bears have the ball at their own 44-yard line. He could just well elect to refuse the penalty and take the ball. It's not bad field position at all.
Except if you've got a except if you've got a world-class sprinter, you may want to give another chance to. Obviously, they're going to take it where it is and move from there.
Dan Reeves, head coach of the Denver Broncos. Chicago leading Denver 14-0. We've got a timeout. We'll be back in a moment. We're on the second leg of this NFL game, going downwind, you might say. Inside Soldier Field, what happened was, well, Chicago changed their mind. Bob Greasy was right. They want Denver to kick again, because when you have a world-class sprinter like Willie Gault, that is a quote from Bob Greasy, then give him a chance for the return. Here's Prestridge. The last kick, by the way, that was nullified by the penalty was 38 yards. This kick is much better. 5 yards deeper, taking the 41, and here comes the speedster, and it does pay off. The difference about 9 or 10 yards as far as field position is concerned for the Chicago Bears. Keith Bishop down on the special teams for the Denver Broncos. We have 13 minutes, 16 seconds, time remaining in the second quarter. The Bears lead the Broncos 14-0 on a gorgeous afternoon at Soldier Field.
I think that was a smart move, Charlie. You know you're going to get good field position anyway. Make them kick it again. See if we can get a big play off our special teams.
At the Denver 46-yard line, it is a first down. 44 yards on that last kick, 9 yards officially on the return. Fake of a pass and a give to Payton on the draw inside to the 38-yard line. A gain of 8 will be second down and a couple as Jim Ryan makes the tackle. Today's telecast, presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Chicago Bears, who you see in action here, and the National Football League, is prohibited. Second down 2. Payton, the remaining back. And it is Walter Payton. First down. 33-yard line, gain of 5. Steve Busick with the tackle. Let me update a couple of scores. Green Bay running away from Tampa Bay. It is now 21-0 as Huckabee has scored for the Pack. And Philadelphia leading Atlanta 14-0.
The ball is the
And we have 1:47. That's the first quarter score. Philadelphia 14, Atlanta nothing. 1:47 left to go in the first period of that game. Here we have just over 12 minutes to go in the second quarter, and it's been all Chicago. McMahon has pressure. Now, I am surprised. There's the flag. Should have been a flag. Yes, that'll be intentional grounding. We'll sort that out. I thought we were going to New York. Hold it. We're going to stay right here. That's a good call by the official because it was intentional grounding. No question in the intent of what the quarterback was doing.
There was no question. I think it was set up to be some type of a delay, but certainly not a screen. The only man that was near the ball was 65, Noah Jackson. I don't think he could catch.
Grounding, loss of a down. Because the pass was thrown further than 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, the penalty will be assessed from the spot of the pass.
Ooh, you don't want to jump up in the air, Jim, when you got a man coming at you right there. You're liable to get really hurt.
And Bryson Manor nailed it.
Noah Jackson, 65. He didn't want that ball. He's put on a few pounds since the last time I've seen Noah.
And that penalty takes the ball back to the 48-yard line, and it is a loss of down.
It's a very bad mistake by a quarterback.
It is 2nd and 25. Here's the draw. Matt Suet. 3 yards to the 45, so it'll be 3rd down and 22. Reuben Carter making the tackle. 3 games going on in the NFC. Minnesota leading Dallas now 7-3. Green Bay, we pointed that out. Boy, they're running away from Tampa Bay. And Philadelphia leading Atlanta 14-0. Those are the 3 early games between NFC teams.
Tampa's really having their quarterback problems since
they are.
The departure of Doug Williams.
3rd down, 22. McMahon from the shotgun. Going underneath the coverage. Pass is complete to Dennis McKinnon. They'll mark it at the 37-yard line. So a gain of 8 as Gradishar makes the tackle. Now let's go to New York.
All right, Charlie, in Cincinnati, what a shootout. After the Colts scored, the Bengals came right back. Look at this bomb. Anderson to Collinsworth, but he can't keep his feet. It set up a touchdown. The Colts are now threatening, trailing by 10. Back to Chicago.
Much more of a battle going on there between Cincinnati and Baltimore than we have going on here. This has been completely one-sided so far. As the Denver offense, really, they haven't been on the field that much. Here's Parsons kicking. He goes into the right-hand corner, plays the winds and the bounce of Soldier Field like it's his own private golf course.
Just like a little chip shot down around the 10-yard line.
He's in his 12th year, and he knows every inch of the AstroTurf here and the swirling breezes that you can have on wintry days. Today it is warm. He still performs. We'll be back in just a moment. Everybody, this is Charlie Jones along with Bob Greasy. Now Denver they've had no offense. What can Elway do to get them started?
Well, obviously the Chicago defense is dominating the Bronco offense. They've had the ball 9 plays. They've had 2 sacks, and then they had another play which was totally discombobulated. They don't know what they're doing. They need to get settled down and do something offensively to keep the defense off the field.
Denver now from their own 10-yard line, 1st down. You start throwing now?
1st down is a good time to throw. They're blitzing.
And it's intercepted, over touchdown for Chicago. Rookie mistake. Leslie Frazier with the score.
Here you see all the Chicago Bears up there. They're blitzing. Elway makes a big mistake. You never throw the ball up in the air in your own end zone or 10-yard line. But that's just a rookie mistake, Charlie, that he's going to have to suffer through. The Bears are a very aggressive defense. 25, Todd Bell, safety blitzing. The cornerback, good vision on the quarterback, sees the ball. He's the only one that did see it and runs it in for a touchdown.
He's trying to throw the ball away. Here's the extra
I hope
point.
he was trying to throw it away.
I mean, that was the impression that I had, and you just didn't, you didn't execute.
But there's no way you can have pass protection on a situation like that because your offense cannot block everybody.
He looks left. See how high he's lofted? No, it was a timing
The problem
pattern.
was he turned his eyes. He didn't look deep downfield.
John Elway continuing to have a rough start of the season.
Here he sees the defense. He sees the blitz coming, but he turns his head. He loses vision of where the defensive men are coming from. In that situation, never turn your head. Always keep vision on the player.
Steve Wilson just returning the kickoff to the 20-yard line. He was jarred by Richard Dent and the ball popped loose. And so Elway will be coming back in. Here's the kickoff return. This is Steve Wilson from Howard in his 5th year. And boy, what's the hit at the 20-yard line? There it goes. Ball and all, out of bounds. So Denver trying to get something started once again, this time their own 20-yard line. Chicago leading 21-0. The pitch is to Winder. And Sammy has a couple of yards before Otis Wilson makes the tackle. There are 3 games in the AFC going on. Houston, Pittsburgh, no score second quarter in that game. Seattle and Cleveland, second quarter, they're tied at 3. And in the second quarter, Cincinnati leading Baltimore by a score of 17-7. Those are the 3 games in the AFC. And this is the chart on the sideline.
Charlie, this is a little pep talk. Walter Payton getting some ideas on what might work. But this is a tough situation for John Elway. I've been there before. He's down 21 points. He hasn't done anything right yet. He's a rookie. You're against a team that is very aggressive and going to continue to be that way. All you can do is try to make one play at a time successful.
Play action, quick screen, right side to Rick Upchurch. Close to the 30-yard line, may have a first down. Leslie Frazier makes the tackle. Frazier, the man with the interception and the score. Jim Osborne was also there, along with Dan Raines. Almost everybody was there.
It's a good play for Elway in this situation in the game. It's a little fake. It's a quick pass so he can get it off, and it's a safe pass. It's behind the line of scrimmage to a player that can make a big play. Upchurch, number 80, can bust a lot of these plays and make touchdown. That's the type of play Elway needs right at this point in the ballgame.
The change coming out. It is just shy of the first down by just about an inch.
You know, Charlie, this is an intimidating defense. I remember playing as a rookie against the Chicago Bears back when Dick Butkus was playing. And it was a very difficult thing to do, to come to the line of scrimmage and look at his eyes every time we came up. I remember breaking the huddle one time. Offensive back asked me something, and I lost my concentration. And I got to the line of scrimmage, and I saw Butkus was one man over where he usually is. And I got under center, or what I thought was center, was actually our right guard, Larry. I put my hands under Larry Little. He jumped 2 feet up in the air.
You saw the scores of the 2 interconference games. Here it is, 3rd down and inches. On a fake of a draw and a quarterback sneak, first down. He picks up a couple, maybe 3 yards on the play. Al Harris makes the tackle. But Denver has a first down, and it's been a long time between first down.
I think that's their first one.
So it's been a week.
It's been a week, is right.
I didn't realize how long
here you
it
see
been.
a fake. Both backs going to the left, Elway going to the right. That's a design play. More teams are using that because every time you get in an I formation in short yardage, they all feel like it's going to be over the top. The defense knows it. The quarterback goes away from it.
Denver from their own 33-yard line. Sammy Winder coming inside. A gain of 2 to the 35. So it'll be 2nd down and 8. Mike Singletary making the tackle. Baltimore has scored. We had that update from New York, and they have scored. McMillan from a yard out, so it is 17-14. Cincinnati leading Baltimore on an update of that ball game. Here it is 2nd down and 8. Denver very conservative.
They need to be at this point of the game. They need to get some positive things going in their offense.
Chicago leading 21-0. Winder wrapped up as the strong safety Todd Bell moves in to make the tackle. That Bear defense gives you all kinds of looks. This has to be like mass confusion for a rookie quarterback.
That's the problem, Charlie. As we look at the replay, you have an inexperienced offensive line, or at least a line that's not playing well, with a young quarterback, an inexperienced quarterback, against a Chicago Bear defense that is very aggressive and is not afraid to show you any kind of look and rush the passer. They'll give up some big plays, but at this point of the game, they're dominating the whole thing.
7 men in the secondary for Chicago. From the shotgun. Elway tries to scramble out of it. May pick up a yard to the 35. Jim Osborne with the tackle. And with that yard gain, the only good thing that you can say is that it doesn't count as a sack.
Well, there's a situation where he had the time to throw, and none of those receivers were open. Faking a blitz, backing up. He's got the time, but when all the sacks and everything else that has happened to him, you lose your composure and you lose your tempo. And then when you don't have to run, then you take off running. If he could have waited another second, which he had, one of his receivers were coming open.
Luke Prestridge to kick. Willie Gault is set for the return. Prestridge averaging on 3 kicks 45.6 yards. Here's Gault to the 30. Works his way around the corner and scrambles for 7 or 8 yards on the return. So the Chicago Bears will be moving on offense with 5:29. That is the time remaining in the first half. Chicago leading 21-0. That last kick, 38 yards. Television Network.
WMAQ-TV, Channel 5, Chicago.
Hello, everybody. This is Charlie Jones, Bob Greasy. Chicago leading Denver by a score of 21-0 with 5:29 left to go in the first half. The game completely dominated by the Bears. First down, 11-1, showing you the domination. The 21-0 does what this does. Here's Walter Payton, cutting against the grain around the corner and then out of bounds. From the 36 to the 39-yard line, a gain of 3, and I'm not sure that there are that many running backs in the National Football League that would have picked up those 3 yards.
That's a good point. You know, one of the problems for the Broncos, we mentioned earlier, Barney Chavis is not in there. Rulon Jones is not playing either. They have 2 rookie defensive linemen playing in different situations in the ball game, and it's really tough to stop anybody's running game if your front 3 is not being very effective. And the Chicago Bears are winning that battle so far in this ball game.
And also Don Latimer not here, did not make the trip. He's out with a toe injury. Payton 38 yards in 10 carries. And here he comes again. Close to the first down. Randy Gradishar with the tackle. We mentioned at the top of the show when we did our analysis and rating on a 1 to 10 scale of 10 categories, and you said at the end, the margin will swing with the offensive line, and certainly the offensive line of the Bears has played exceptionally well.
Well, the defensive problems in the line for Denver has helped the offensive line for the Bears win this battle, and so far the running game for Chicago is working very well.
Just short of the first down, so it'll be 3rd down and inches. Some scores coming in. San Francisco leading New England now 14-6. Pittsburgh has scored. They lead Houston 7-0. As Pollard scored from a yard out. Green Bay leading Tampa Bay now 28-7. A Lynn Dickey touchdown pass, the last score in that ball game. Minnesota out in front of Dallas now 14-3, and it is Cincinnati 17 and Baltimore 14. Steve DeBerg, number 17, jockeying with Luke Prestridge. 3rd down and inches. This is the power I formation. Payton looks like he's coming off of a diving board. You see that spring in his legs? Now, this is a man who could not play but for 3 or 4 downs last week because of a bruise just below his knee. Look at the spring in his leg.
I think that tells you a little bit about the makeup and the character of a Walter Payton. Gets the ball deep in the backfield. The quarterback wants to get it to him as deep as he can. Gradishar, 53, there to meet him when he comes down. But by that time, he's already made his first down.
An airborne, look at that, an airborne first down. Noah Jackson comes out of the offensive line for the Bears. Perry Hartnett has replaced him, and he is limping just a bit. First down, Chicago. Their own 47-yard line. 3:53 left to go, second quarter. Bears lead it 21-0. Fake of the draw. Deep. Galt is there, and he juggles it. You cannot overthrow Willie Galt. He caught up to it, but he couldn't hang on to it. Boy, is he exciting to watch.
Woo! Right down the middle of the field.
He beats Smith and Foley.
You can do these types of play-action passes when your running game is working. It was a two-deep safety zone. Galt goes right down the middle. He's beyond either safety. In defense of Willie Galt, I'll say that he was looking back into the sun. Whether it was a factor or not, it's hard to say. It looks like the speed you used to have at one time, Charlie.
Long time ago. But notice how he just changed gears. It looked for a moment as if he was overthrown.
Yep.
Second down and 10 at the Chicago 47-yard line. Walter Payton, right side. Was that a blown call? There were no blockers there.
It must have been. It was designed to go somewhere else. But he can turn a play like that. He's so exciting.
He did it by himself.
He's so exciting to watch. He looked like he was going to be ready to jump over the defensive man if he went in low. You never know what Walter Payton's going to do. There you go. Perry Hart at 67 gets knocked off. He looked like he was going to jump over somebody right there. Louis Wright's been out there a long time. He's going to get him down one way or the other.
A gain of 7 on a play that was designed to go somewhere else, and it's third down and 3.
Charlie, right now, the Denver defense has Boyer, a 10th round draft choice, and Mecklenburg, a 12th round draft choice of defensive ends. Both rookies.
Third down 3. Here's Payton. First down.
TJ.
Report on Noah Jackson. He can come back to the ball game. Go ahead.
Tom Jackson coming around from his outside linebacker spot, catching Walter Payton from behind. Tom Jackson is an excellent linebacker, as is Gradishar. All the Denver linebackers are good. Busick and Ryan, of course, are missing Bob Swenson, probably the best linebacker on the ball club.
Update on the 3 games in the AFC. Pittsburgh leading. Seattle, Cleveland still tied. Cincinnati still out in front of Baltimore. 3 games in the NFC. Minnesota ahead of Dallas. Look at Green Bay. They're running away from Tampa Bay. Philadelphia leading Atlanta. First down at the 43-yard line. Matsui. Couple of yards. 2 games, interconference games besides this one. And Washington leading the Raiders. Now Washington favored in that ball game. They're out in front 10-0. San Francisco leading New England 14-6. And here in the other interconference game, it is Chicago 21 and Denver nothing with 2.5 minutes left to go in the first half. Second down and 8. Denver offense has not been very productive. They haven't been on the field a lot either. Here's Payton. Time of possession is going to be, 24 minutes to 6, something in that neighborhood.
Charlie, they've had the ball 5 times. 3 different occasions it was 3 and out. The 4th possession it was an interception for a touchdown, and their 5th possession they had the ball 6 plays and punted.
That tells you the bottom line as we have the 2-minute warning. It's Chicago 21, Denver nothing. Ditka, Dan Reeves, former teammates and former coaching assistants at Dallas. Ditka leads 21-0 right now, and one of the reasons is possession of the football. And of course, when Chicago has had possession, there gives you an idea. 2-1 in their favor. And in addition, they've capitalized when they've had the ball. Also scored one time that Denver had the ball. Three wide receivers in for the Chicago Bears. Third down and 6. McMahon scrambles forward. As the first down, heads for the side. Gets a good block, gets some extra yardage. Heads up play by Jim McMahon. Dennis McKinnon with the lead block out in front, and so he picked up 5 or 6 more yards because of that block.
When you're young, you can run. Sometimes if you don't read the coverages right, the man don't get open or the protection breaks down. If you're young, you can do this, and the reason no one is there to tackle him is because it's man coverage and all the linebackers are running around covering somebody with no vision on the quarterback.
A gain of 20 yards to the 19. McKinnon, we mentioned the block on right. No, it wasn't right. He picked up a block. He's airborne like Walter Payton. First down, 19-yard line. Dumped off to Payton. Payton in the block, picking up a linebacker. And he is out of bounds around the 13-yard line. So add 6 more to the total. Louis Wright was there for the defense.
He is something else. That number 34, Walter Payton.
Let me update a score for you. It is now Washington 10, the LA Raiders 7. Jim Plunkett to Cliff Branch, 99 yards for a touchdown. That ties the NFL record. And at halftime, NFL 83, they'll have that highlight along with highlights and scores from all the other ball games. Also another update, Cincinnati leading Baltimore now by 10. Ken Anderson scoring from 3 yards out, 24-14.
Cincinnati's offense is back.
And so the Chicago Bears offense is back also. Here's Payton. Hit at the 8, comes down at the 5.
It's the offensive line, Charlie. It's dominating the line of scrimmage. I really feel as though the Denver Broncos are really hurting in the defensive line. Of course, like we said, Latimer's not here. Chavis is not playing. Rulon Jones is out. And you know, they're just having all kinds of problems in the defensive line.
And we've got a timeout. We'll be back in just a moment. Preceding announcements furnished as a public service by the National Football League and by number 81, Steve Watson. Played his collegiate ball at Temple, now in his 5th year, and has developed into one of the truly great receivers in the National Football League. Hasn't had that much of an opportunity today because the Denver offense hasn't had that much of an opportunity.
That's exactly right.
Chicago at the 5-yard line of Denver. First down, goal to go. Mix-up. Now, what's happened? All right. Now, what's this? We're going to have a pushing and shoving contest.
The problem was, Charlie, McMahon was checking off. The center was ready to snap the ball and moved. Gradishar came in and touched him. Little delayed touch, but yet a touch.
And if it is a touch, of course, that's encroachment and automatic 5 yards are here. They would split the difference. But I was beginning to wonder about the 30-second clock because there was a lot of movement back and forth. I thought that, you know, Suey was out on the wing, came back, and then started back out on the wing.
Yeah.
We've got false start on the quarterback, taking his hand out from behind the center, drawing the other team off.
Nice.
Can't do that, Jim. It's a new rule. They used to put that in for guys bobbing their heads and all that other kind of stuff. Can't really see it here. You saw the center Hilgenberg pull back.
Yeah. And of course, once there's movement.
There you go. That's a new rule. You cannot bring your hand out from underneath the center once you got it under there.
And Gradishar knows the rule.
Gradishar sure does. And the center takes the blow. Hilgenberg takes a swing back at him.
But that's a good point of the players knowing the rule and capitalizing on it immediately.
Exactly right.
First down goal to go 10-yard line after the penalty. Play action. Into the end zone, high and almost thrown away. Willie Goff possibly could have been the intended receiver, or Marjoram.
I think he was throwing that one away, Charlie. He jumps up in the air again, and I hate to see a quarterback jump up in the air when a defensive man is close to him. Here we see Walter Payton coming out of the backfield, was one of the primary receivers. That's why he didn't get the ball.
Little unintentional tripping going on.
Gradishar wouldn't do that intentionally.
Of course not.
No. These linebackers are nice guys. They smile at you when you come up the line of scrimmage.
You notice their eyes, don't you?
Oh, yeah. You know when they're blitzing, there's fire in their eyes.
Second down, goal to go. Roll out, pass complete to Matt Suey. And he is out of bounds. Will stop the clock at about the 1-yard line. Minnesota now leading Dallas 17-3. A Ricardo field goal. And again, NFL 83 will update all the scores and highlights at halftime.
It's the second time we've seen this play, and the second time Suey has caught the ball. Broncos will probably see it again until they stop it.
Jim Ryan saves the touchdown. 2-yard line. Third down goal to go. 1:17 time remaining. Second quarter. Bears dominating the game 21-0. Showing 5 receptions, 84 yards. Peyton, motion, right side. Rolling right. Peyton's there. Goes to, drops it. No, that was Calvin Thomas. Did Peyton cut inside and then Thomas swing out?
Exactly. We'll see play action and a rollout. McMahon pulls up. Got to catch the ball first before you can run in there. I think he felt he heard Smith coming from behind him. Wanted to get the ball and get in the end zone before he got hit.
So it is 4th down, and Bob Thomas with a field goal attempt. Baschnagel to hold. From the 10, an attempt of 20, just inside the 10. They may call it a 19-yard attempt. And it is good. So officially, 19 yards away. And Chicago leads 24-0 with 1:08 left to go in the second quarter. My question is, can Denver get anything going?
Well, they don't have to score 24 points. What they do need to do is come back out and gain their confidence and gain their composure. Get their tempo back going, not only with their quarterback, who certainly is flustered at this point, but also their offensive line, their entire team.
How do you do that?
Well, you don't get rattled. Dan Reeves won't get rattled. I'm sure I've been in this situation several times. When I first came out, I was one of the quarterbacks that didn't sit, Charlie, that came right out and played like Elway. I had 2 concussions my first year, had a slight shoulder separation, so I kind of know what he's going through. There were many games when the Miami Dolphins were down 24-0 going into halftime, and all you can do is try and get something positive going. He needs to keep his poise, needs to keep his confidence, maybe work on some short stuff. Sooner or later, if you continue to play a team as aggressive as Chicago Bears, you'll hit a big play on them.
Football may be king this afternoon, but in this city, all they're talking about is baseball. Starting Tuesday night, be with us on NBC. All the excitement of the American National League Championship Series. Our coverage begins Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at the home of the West. That's the Dodgers. Wednesday afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time in Baltimore. And the White Sox will be there. So stay with us for all the great playoff action, both leagues, all here on NBC. Bob Thomas will be kicking off as Zach Thomas and Steve Wilson are set for the return. Wilson, number 45. And he battles his way near the 30-yard line. So Denver will have their best field position that they've had in a long time. Atkins of the Bears makes the tackle. They only have a minute and a second left to go in the half. You go deep, you run it out. What do you do? 32 yards in the return.
Well, I think you got to pass, and hopefully you always have a deep receiver on every pass pattern, Charlie. If that is not open, if they're not blitzing or not playing aggressively, sitting back in a zone instead, then you throw underneath and try to get something working upfield.
The Bears have 5 men in the secondary. Elway from the shotgun. And the pass is complete to Dave Preston. Preston, the forgotten man of the offense. And he is in as a receiver and picks up the first down as Terry Schmidt was chasing him. Stopping the clock, 53 seconds left to go. Now, Elway had just over 3 seconds before he fired the ball. We'll be checking the time of his protection. 3 seconds, 3.5. That's about what you need, isn't it?
Well, that's plenty of time. He didn't want to throw the ball to Preston, obviously. He was looking downfield. He dumped it off to Preston just to get something out of it. But if he gets 3 seconds, he'll tear this league up.
Scrambling. And heading for the sideline. Out of bounds. 49-yard line, stopping the clock now with 46 seconds left to go in the first half. Mike Richardson was chasing him. Again, Chicago 24 and Denver nothing.
You know, Charlie, talking to John Hadel, former great quarterback in the National Football League, who is now coaching the quarterbacks for the Denver Broncos. He says that John Elway has got all the ingredients that you would ever want in a quarterback. He's got size, intelligence, arm, movement, the whole works. He just needs a little bit of experience, and he's going to be a great player in this league.
A quick scoring note from another game. Jan Stenerud, 6 extra points in the Green Bay game, so he now has moved ahead of Jim Turner's all-time scoring record. Far side pass overthrow. So that's good news for Jan and bad news for Jim.
Incomplete. The coverage to Walt Williams.
So it'll be 3rd down and 5.
At the 49.
Steve Watson, the intended receiver. He draws a lot of coverage.
He certainly does. When you don't have a lot of good receivers, you got one top receiver, he's going to get the attention. Watson in the Pro Bowl a couple of years ago, being covered very closely by Williams. Williams could afford to play him that way, let him get beyond him because he had help deep. Double coverage on the play.
Third down. A circle scramble. And it dropped at the 37-yard line. Todd Bell, the strong safety, is the man. Everybody is coming.
Brings back memories of when I started playing it. I remember doing that, the double loop, back one way or back the other way. The offense never quit when I was in there because they always knew that I may bring him back around another time and they get another block.
He saw Al Harris twice. He caught him going one way and coming back the other.
This is not funny if you're wearing number 7 for the Broncos, but it's unfortunately part of growing up and with a team that's having offensive line problems. But he's going to be a good one for a long time to come.
This will be 4th down and 16. Chicago has stopped the clock with a timeout. 28 seconds left to go. They won another chance with the football, the way they're going, and another opportunity to give Willie Gault on the return. Be sure and stay with us this afternoon, as coming up after our ball game, the San Diego Chargers will be trying to get something going. It's a tough defense of the New York Giants. In some areas, you'll be seeing the Miami Dolphins taking on the New Orleans Saints at the Superdome. So stay with us today for a full coverage of football here on NBC. No, that's not Willie Gault, is it? That's Jeff Fisher. Gault's on the sideline.
I think they're going to rest him up for the second half.
But if you're not going with Willie Gault, then why bother with a timeout to get the ball?
Well, I think they have confidence
in Fisher break one?
In their Fisher, yeah. Fisher was running back the last couple of years for the Bears.
At the 38, Prestridge to punt. Jeff Fisher is deep for the Bears.
Prestridge to kick.
Block it.
And a flag down. Contact was made on Prestridge. Denver will have the ball. It is downfield, but you can go back to the penalty. I believe it was the rookie Mike Richardson from Arizona State who made contact. The rule reads you cannot touch the punter, basically. I mean, that's it, unless you block the football.
This is why Gault wasn't back and Fisher was. They didn't have a return on. They were trying to block the punt. They didn't want to put Willie Gault out there without anybody coming back to help block for him.
Personal foul. We're running into the kicker. Carries the automatic first down. There are only 6 defensive fouls that do not carry the automatic first down. Used to be 5. Offsides, encroachment, delay of game, illegal substitution, excessive timeout. They have since added the 5-yard face mask if it's an inadvertent face mask. So Denver has the first down at their own 43-yard line with 17 seconds left to go in the first half. Elway drills it. Boy, he can fire the ball. You like his arm?
I love his arm. I like to see some of his guys get open downfield.
Going to Jim Wright, Todd Bell at the cover.
The Bears are playing a lot of man coverage in the secondary, and they're playing double coverage on the wide receivers. Here you see the 4 deep receiver, the defensive backs turning out, covering the 2 wide receivers tight man to man, and the tight end right coming across the middle, who Elway is throwing to, is covered by a linebacker, and they're taking away his wide receiver, so he really doesn't have anybody to throw to.
Also, with 7 men in the secondary, it's like a mix master trying to read what all those defensive backs are doing.
I couldn't read that coverage after 14 years in the league. I know John can't read it.
Has pressure, but now has protection. And he goes to Watson. He caught it just past the first down marker, then circle back, and he may have lost the first down. But it may become academic also. 2 seconds on the clock. That was a second down situation. Walt Williams was there, and Denver will stop the clock with the timeout with 2 seconds left to go. They'll have be on about the 47 or 48 yard line so they can go for one bomb.
How
can you read that?
You can't. You can tell the man in the middle of the field, number 44, is looking for a receiver, so you know he's man-to-man. He's not dropping back and looking at the quarterback. There are so many people back there, you have to find out which, and they're so loose. Of course, it's the end of the half. You have to find out which one is covered singly or which one is being covered double, but is so loose that you can still get the ball in there. And with an arm like he's got, he can get it in there pretty quickly.
Also, did you notice he's looking for the one that is pushing off illegally?
Yeah.
Watched it, had a little shove and got clean. Now, he has a problem just looking. I mean, he's got a problem of read and then a problem of finding out where his players are.
Well, and the other thing he has to do is move around in the pocket. He steps around good. This is great practice for a young rookie quarterback to move around in the pocket to allow your offensive lineman to block for you, to allow your receivers to get open.
Great practice?
Great practice. You know, sometimes he gets back too quickly. He's ready to throw the ball too quickly, and his receivers aren't ready, and the defensive backs are reading.
Third down and a couple, 48-yard line in Chicago. Unloads, but it was way high, and it's going to be a jump ball, and it's incomplete. Jeff Fisher was there. Terry Schmidt was there for the defense. Walter Payton strolls to the locker room. It has been a first half completely dominated by the Bears, 24-0, and NFL 83 is coming up at halftime.
In 1876, Alexander Graham Bell started a communications revolution.
Watson, come here. I want to. Watson, 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 Watson.
Watson and Watson.
255 to 58 for Denver.
It's very one-sided, of course. I think the Bears defense has as much to do with this than the Bears offense, sacking Elway 4 times and creating 1 touchdown for their offense.
Now, at the top of the show, we had our opening advantage rating, and we rated a total of 10 categories on a scale of 1 to 10, and Denver came out with a slight edge. But Bob did point out that the swing category was the offensive line. Now, we gave Chicago a slight edge in the offensive line, 7 to 6, but when you look at the total offense, you would have to give the quarterback a bigger edge than a point. The running backs, you know, with Payton, you could give him almost a 10 with what he's done today. The receivers, and primarily the offensive line, because they have dominated.
I think McMahon's playing well. I think Payton is playing well because the offensive line is dominating the line of scrimmage. Denver's defensive line is not doing so well because of injury, and that all adds up to a big lead here at halftime for the Bears.
And it may mean that Steve DeBerg will be coming in because he is loosening up. And he certainly has been the relief pitcher for the Denver Broncos, no question about that. And Elway hasn't had anything going.
I don't think this is a bad move at all because he is really frustrated and really out of control with the Chicago.